Hey guys, welcome back to Ironside Ranch. Let's talk real fast about what I wish I'd known before I started raising cows. So there's a number of things that you can get into, and people will get into dorking out over what kind of breeds they want to do. I'm sorry guys, it's really hot here. I'm sweating like crazy, but they'll dork out over what kind of breeds they want to get into, what the best pasture grasses are. All that stuff you'll learn as you go, and you'll start figuring out what you like, what works for your area, what works for your routine, your lifestyle, and what works for you. So we're going to talk about some things that should be general to everybody. The first is making sure you have good exterior fencing, right? So the fencing around your entire property, let's make sure that that fencing is really good and secured fencing. We use all high tensile fencing with fiberglass posts, wood posts periodically. We have these nice thick fiberglass posts. I have thinner ones. We built everything to a certain spec that we know holds in our cattle, and it's a really, really stout fence for us. Works really, really well. Love high tensile fence. It's quick, it's cheap, it's easy to put up. It's by far the best option for cattle. It works for sheep, works for pigs, works for a lot of things. Does not work very well for goats, but anyways, so this is what we like to use. There's a number of options out for you. Bottom line is make sure you have perimeter fence around your farm and around your fields before you start moving them. You have no protection from wildlife like coyotes, bears, cougars, whatever. If you don't have any perimeter fence, that stuff does help to keep them back. You also have no real surefire way of keeping them in, short of a little small line that cows don't really seem to always pay attention to. Ours are trained to it. They'll stay in. I don't have to do anything. I don't even charge the lines anymore. We rotate them with. But before they get trained to it, and trained well, you'll have problems with them getting out. We have had one cow escape on us, ran off, never saw it again. So bottom line is you want to make sure you have good quality perimeter fencing. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, and I'm going to put these in this order for a reason, but second thing is actually food, not water, and we'll talk about water here in a second. The reason I put food ahead of water is because cattle feed, so feed whether you're buying grain, corn, non-GMO sunflower seeds like we do, or hay, you have a pretty large expense there. And if you don't have adequate pasture, you'll notice this pasture here behind us is all brown and dead and looks like crap. That's because this area was just cleared of all the trees. You can see the big brush pile over there. I let the cows come in here and tear down the underbrush. As soon as I move them out of here, I'm coming in here with the tiller. We're going to till all this up, get some seed beds down, and get this thing actually producing some nice grass for us. So that's here to come in this area. That's why it's all brown and nasty. You're going to deal with that if you're converting land. If you're doing a small farm, you don't have adequate pasture to rotate, you're going to have to deal with some supplemental feed. First, buy high quality feed, Bermuda grass. I buy horse quality hay. It actually allows them to put on weight. Everything else is basically just cardboard filler for their stomach. Good quality hay. Now, we do buy cheap hay periodically. That's actually what they're eating right now. That's a real cheap hay. Unfertilized hay, doesn't have much nutrient value, but that's because it's only a supplement right now to what's out there for them, and they're moving off of this here soon anyway, so I know it doesn't look like there's much out here. There's some food over there y'all can't see, but bottom line is that we want to make sure that we have good quality feed for them. Good horse hay will allow them to put on weight. Cheap cow hay that people sell as cow hay, it is nothing but a filler for them, and you'll find that they tend to not like it. They don't eat it. We don't actually buy from this guy anymore. As much as I like him as a person, his hay sucks, and my cows hate it, and they always lose weight on it. So I end up spending more buying feed supplements for them. The Bermuda hay that I buy from another guy, it's a lot more expensive hay, actually about twice as much, but it's a much higher quality hay. I don't have to buy anything else. The cows just love that, and with that and their mineral supplement, they're good to go. Okay, so the next thing is water. Now, we have videos on water. We have videos on pasture fencing. We show you guys how it is. We show you guys how to make the mineral supplements and everything. But the water is making sure that you have good, clean water for them. Clean water, because stagnant water tends to cause diseases in them, and so I like small buckets with float valves. We use 55-gallon drums. We cut them in half. I put a float valve on it. Y'all have seen those in the other videos, and that works. That'll work for a good probably 30 cows before that becomes too much for that one 55-gallon bucket or 55-gallon drum. and then you know what, take the top and flip it over and do the same thing with it, and you can put a Y connector on them and hook them together. It's super simple, and you can have that to do 50 cows very easily. So it's a really simple way of doing it. When we're done, we dump it over. I don't lose that much water to the ground, especially if you're paying for water. That's a big deal. But the bigger thing is it's easy to dump them, easy to move them, and it cleans it out every time I dump them over, so I don't have stagnant water. I don't have bacteria building up in those troughs, and I can just move them around with the cows. Now, you can have troughs that sit stationary. You can put float valves on them, and some people even put things like catfish in them to help kind of clean things up. But you've got to be careful about bacteria building up in those and making your livestock sick. So that's why I just like to dump it out periodically and be done with it. So I like the moving around method the best. We may at some point in time put some permanent tanks on the property, but as of right now, we move them around. So those are the three things. I wish that somebody had sat me down and talked to me about it, and you think about how important it is for your perimeter fencing, so your shelter, your water, your food, all that stuff seems fairly obvious. But the biggest thing I'll tell you to do is make sure you have a mentor to help teach you and walk you through this. What do I mean by that? And the reason that I say that is because you can't call your vet for everything. It's too expensive. And once you start learning how to do some of this stuff, you won't need your vet anymore, other than to give you some prescriptions on a few antibiotics and stuff like that. The reason that you need a mentor is you need somebody to show you, hey, I just came out, I have this cow laying down, and it looks like he's got a tumor growing out the side of him. Well, it's got bloat. Here's how you deal with it. And you need to have a mentor that can walk you through that. So if those three things don't hit you, then the fourth thing is I would make sure that I had that mentor in place, have somebody that can show me about cows, how to do this, because there's so much more than what I can put in a YouTube video, so much more than what can be done in a book. No matter how many books you read, you're not going to get as much knowledge as you could by having somebody that can come out here and walk out here, look at the cows and say, hey, that was a little bit skinny, we need to get some protein. That one looks like it might be a little bit wormy because we're seeing some bones, we're seeing some kind of mangy hair on it, and they can look at it and they can see what's going on. And you can't really learn that well from books. You learn that either A, from experience, which means that you have cows that have health issues that you're dealing with because you're trying to learn how to do it, or you have a mentor that can show you and teach you and help you catch those things along before you get to them. You can look out here and you can see our cows. For the most part, our cows look very healthy. We do have a little bit more skin and bones on them. That's because of the breed that we have. They're kind of like greyhounds, right? Greyhound dogs. Greyhound dogs are not unhealthy when you see their bones. It's because it's the breed. They're a very lean breed of dog. Florida crackers are kind of the same thing. If you look back, even the natural ones that were raised in the wild, they're always very lean. It's actually hard to get them to pack on weight, and it's one of the characteristics that we breed for is ones that can pack on a little bit of weight. So it's something that we look for when we're doing this. But we want to make sure that we're looking at them and we know what that breed is. I have a mentor with this specific breed that we talk to. I send pictures to periodically and say, hey, is this okay? And he's been raising this breed for 30 years, very knowledgeable in the industry. And we have people that we work with. Find somebody that you can work with that can help you figure this out. Other than that, guys, I think that's about all I had. I want to make just a real quick video, tell you the couple things that I screwed up on when I started. Hopefully you can save from making those mistakes. Whether you're, I'm sure you're not probably you're not watching this video looking at starting a commercial operation. You're watching this video because you're looking at starting a hobby farm or maybe just a small homestead and you want to raise some beef for you, friends and family, whatever. That's what I intended this video for, to help you get started. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you like this content, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're going over everything here homesteading related. We're talking about from the depression that we know is coming, the hyperinflation that we know is coming, to how to raise your own food. Well, guys, we're hitting it all. We're going to have firearm stuff coming here in the future that'll probably be on our Patreon when we get that going. The Patreon is not up yet. It won't be up until we hit a few thousand more subscribers. But right down the road here on our property, we've got our firing range going in. About half the excavation work is done, so we will have a lot of videos coming up on that for you. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it.